Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome all League of Legends fanatics, as well as any esports aficionados out there watching in here at Upsurge Esports. My name is Mark Rafa Alexander Arambide, joined here as he makes his legendary, famous return here to Upsurge. It's the man, the myth, the legend, William Chillingwalk Mua. Welcome back, sir.
Oh, man, Rafa, you build me up so much. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can meet those expectations. Legendary? That's a little bit too much, man. But hey, I'm back. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to have, my casting kicked off way back then, and I'm happy to come back to the Upsurge Premier League to watch these two famous teams, Michigan State University and Robert Morris University, two titans in the collegiate scene to, go at it on the Rift.
Absolutely. This is a fight for first seed in the Cloud division, and it's going to be very important as that first seed will get you a better matchup going into the playoffs, as we should be seeing within the next couple weeks here at Upsurge.
Yeah, of course. Here we know that Michigan State University is 4-0 so far, and right now they haven't even dropped a game in their division, while Robert Morris University is up for second. They are 3-1 so far. Unfortunately, they have taken 3 losses overall in their series. So with the game score, it's 8-4. But Michigan State, let's see if they can hold on to that title, or if not that, let's see if Robert Morris University can get an upset here today.
Absolutely. And it will also come down to a potential tiebreaker situation where if RMU is able to 2-0 sweep MSU here, then they will both be not only even in series history as well as game score. So at some point, we'll have to see another tiebreaker take place outside of this matchup, but still, it would mean the world for RMU to be able to get a chance at that first seed placing.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if Robert Morris University does knock out Michigan State today here, and if Virginia Tech manages to win their match tonight, that means it's going to be a 3-way tie. They're all going to be 4-1. They've all beaten each other so far. Robert Morris, if they beat Michigan State, Michigan has already beaten Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech has already beaten Robert Morris University as well during week 2. So if that happens, it's going to be a chaotic first 3 placements in the Cloud division.
That's just another contender in the entire Sumo ring together, and all 3 Titans, all piece of that prize and that glory, and that's just going to come easier if you get that first seed placing. But as we're getting ready for the pro draft, we want to dive a little deep into the champion pools, and we know when we're looking at the bot lane, if you're looking at the pro competitive meta, it's all about the Kaisen, it's all about the Xayah. But between these two teams, we're particularly looking at the Draven potentially as either a first pick or a ban from either of these two teams.
Yeah, so far we know that Delaran is a big fan of the Draven. He's known for that pick here. But of course, Robert Morris University, Mary Jerry has seen a lot of play onto it so far. They picked it multiple times. It's one of their biggest picks for the AD carry 3 times so far in all of their matches. So it's going to be exciting to see if this Draven is going to be contested. Of course, Michigan State University is on that blue side. The question is, does Robert Morris University want to respect it? And so far, the only one that I've seen respect on is a Heimerdinger for Michigan State.
And we were talking before the game that the Draven might be left up if RMU is wanting to pick the Heimerdinger specifically into that Draven matchup. But now that the Heimerdinger is gone, maybe we see that Draven respect coming out. It is RMU's last ban here available. They had already taken away the Kha'Zix from BTN respectfully, as well as the Kale, as that is a very powerful flex pick for both the mid lane and the top lane.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we've seen a lot of Kale being picked up, especially in Korean solo queue. It's a champion that, once you get one of those 2-3 items, you could just basically power into these team fights. And there you go. There's that Draven ban, like we said here. The biggest thing, however, is the Pantheon being up. We know that it could be flexed in 4 roles. Michigan State has picked it a couple times. And, let's see if they want to take it, because it is a big takeaway from Robert Morris University. Robert Morris University loves the ADs in the mid lane. They picked the Pantheon. They picked the Kiana, of course, being banned by Michigan State. And they picked that Renekton. So I want to see what Michigan State wants to prioritize here for this first pick. And there it is.
Bam! Just like you said, Mr. Walk and Pantheon, the man himself is going to come out in full force on the Rift. Now, you did say that you were going to speculate this is going to be coming out more than likely for the mid lane in I Am Nightshade, but he can definitely be flexed to the top lane. It is not the most weirdest thing to come out, but the Syndra is going to be potentially an answer in that mid lane for RMU.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, though, because Syndra is a little bit different. If you were playing into that Pantheon, Pantheon has a lot of tools to deal with it, and especially in 2v2 situations. So more than likely, Robert Morris University wants to kind of pivot the Syndra away, possibly sending it to the bot lane. And if they do, Michigan State, got to see where they want to send this Pantheon.
I mean, if Mary Jerry is a specialist on that Heimerdinger, then he's got to be pretty good at other mages as well. So I wouldn't put it past him to be able to pilot that Syndra to success in the bottom lane. And then when you have someone like Thresh, who more than usual is trying to save AD carries that don't have a lot of mobility, Syndra is another champion that doesn't have a lot of mobility and can benefit from a champion like Syndra.
Of course, Robert Morris University picking up the Thresh here, just a safe blind pick overall, but also sets up the kill lane for the bottom side if they send that Syndra to the bottom lane. But Michigan State University going to be picking up that Gragas Yasuo. We talked about this, Rafa. Michigan State flexes the bottom lane once before. Dillaran can play that Yasuo, so that's going to be the big question. The only thing we know is that they have triple flexes. It can go anywhere at this point.
And that's the danger of flexes right here, especially when you're in the team that's facing against the unknown. You have no idea what matchups you're going up against. And usually when you're on the red side, the advantage that you get for picking last is that you get that last pick, the final say, okay, how do we glue this composition together? How do I get the perfect matchup for one of my solo laners or even my AD carrier support, or even jungler in some cases? But now with the flexes being present here from MSU in their draft, that advantage is gone.
Oh man, this is so scary because right now when you look at the Syndra and you look at that pick itself, where does the Syndra go? If it gets sent to the bot lane, it has to deal with the Yasuo, which is a pretty well-known counter in the middle lane, now in the bottom lane. If it goes in the mid lane, that means it has to deal with the Yasuo as well. If it does, or if not, that deals with the Pantheon, that could be risking in 2v2 situations. And knowing that Pantheon has that shield, has that Aegis, can block all that damage, this Syndra has no value right now in this draft, and I want to see what Robert Morris can do if they want to kind of turn this around. But this is looking very, very scary for Robert Morris.
And you already see that there's a couple jungle bans coming out from either teams. The Jarvan from MSU and RMU respectfully saying, hey, we don't think that Gragas is going to be the jungler for sure. More than likely, that could be the bottom lane combo between Dillaran and the support, as you mentioned earlier. So the Karth is just being taken away. The Zac, wow, Flubber coming out today.
Whoa, Rafa, I don't like this pick here. We haven't seen a lot of Zac. I know Robert Morris University likes it. They picked it. They've only picked it once so far, pretty recently as well. But I don't like this pick. This pick is something that can get easily destroyed in the game. It's very hard, especially from levels 1, 2, and 3, and that's where Pantheon Gragas Yasuo can kind of just run over the early laning phases. And Michigan State looks like they're going to be sending that Yasuo into the mid lane with that Gragas in the jungle, Pantheon on the top side, and look at that. There you go. Got the Jinx and the Morgana in the bottom side to deal with that Thresh and Xayah.
RMU now has the final say, and more than likely they're going to be locking in their top laner here. But for Kingslayer Redkin, he's got a few champions up his sleeve. The Rumble has already been banned away, and the Gnar might be the matchup of choice. At least he's got some range to be able to deal with the Pantheon. But I have to say, this isn't the most friendly matchup for the Yordle here.
Yeah, this is a very scary draft from Robert Morris University. If you look at Michigan State right now, right, you have a solid 2v2s, and then you have that 2v2 being able to play towards two strong sides. You could play towards a Pantheon, set that lane going, and then Jinx Morgana, you can also play towards them as well, set up the dives, especially with that black shield. Robert Morris University, you have the ability to kind of stop those lanes, right? You can't get those kills on the bottom side with that Thresh and Xayah, depending on how well you play it. The issue with Robert Morris is that you have that Zac, and knowing that you might not be able to get pushed in the early stages for that Zac, so you can defend those counter jungling from Michigan State. It's going to be pretty scary. I'm going to tell you that much.
And one of the things I'm curious about is the summoner choices for Koskinen? Hopefully I'm not butchering that name, in the mid lane on this Syndra, because if he's going up against the likes of Gragas and Yasuo and then potentially a Pantheon, I don't even know if a Cleanse Flash is going to be the most optimal choices here, because you would imagine that you cannot cleanse the knockup properly, so there's nothing to be gained inherently from there. And right now, if we're looking at the client screen correctly, he's going with the Ignite Flash, so he doesn't give a damn about the odds of this matchup going up in Nightshade's favor. He's looking to turn this one on its head.
I actually respect that from Proskinen. The thing about this matchup is that regardless of whatever defensive ability you're picking here, you're not going to be winning that 2v2. So rather take that Ignite, rather see if you can get that kill on the one-on-one. And if you're able to, you can just nullify that 2v2, diminish that Yasuo's power entering the mid game. And if it's possible, that'd be great, because if that Yasuo gets that one kill, that first kill in that mid lane, that Gragas Yasuo is going to be swinging and going to be looking to take over that map.
Yeah. And then for the MSU, I mean, you have the benefits of having lane priority for both top lane and mid lane, supposedly on paper. The Pantheon and the Osio should have their way with this matchup. They should have the better means of being able to push in their lanes and allowing the Gragas to invade. And normally Gragas isn't the type of jungler we would suspect to be just bullying the other jungler around, getting in there and scrapping. But when it's against the likes of a Zac, I mean, what is Zac gonna do? He's not gonna just try and turn things around. He doesn't have that much base damage early on. He wants to be power farming. He wants to get a few points into his elastic slingshot so he can make those ganks happen from places of vision where you normally don't cover in other scenarios.
Yeah, for Robert Morris University, the only thing they can do, see if you can get that Zac up to level 5 so you can use that slingshot to get some ganks off. And the biggest thing is that if you're able to get to level 5 safely, get to level 6 safely, then you are able to make plays off that spike as long as you're able to track where this Gragas is. Because if you're able to, then you're able to move around the map, be able to use that Zac pressure, because that's when Zac is at his most potent. You're able to kind of collapse on that Pantheon, use that Gnar as well, maybe start catalyzing the Thresh and the Xayah to win that bottom lane. So that's the biggest thing about Robert Morris. They have to get to that level 5 without dying, and from there look to make plays. But easier said than done, Rafa. That's going to be a pretty tough task against that comp.
Yeah, I mean, as we always go back to what should happen on paper versus what happens in execution can always vary very greatly here. And it's just going to be up to MSU to see if they can pull off the task of executing this very aggressive early game oriented composition together. And at least you have Jinx in the bot lane for some late game insurance in case things don't go necessarily the way of that early game plan. I will say that it is a little scary when it does get to that point in the game after 25-30 minutes, because you do have a couple beefy members in the Gnar and the Zac, and when you're looking at the majority of the damage that is coming out from MSU's damage profile, it is mainly physical damage. Yeah, the Gragas can go and dip into full AP, but if he is extremely full AP and then he doesn't get his burst off, then it's only physical damage. And if it's just a bunch of armor stacking tanks from RMU at that point, yikes. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, if it does get to late game, Robert Morris University does have a chance, but like you said, that Jinx can be very scary, especially with that Black Shield, has 3 bodies in front of her as well. And if they ever get a kill, she's going to be getting excited, going to be starting to steamroll these fights. So that's something we have to be careful of.
All right. This time I think we should be able to get through the client side without technical difficulties. But as we are getting ready for the Rift here and teams are loading out, we would like to give a couple shout outs to our lovely sponsors here. As I'm just trying to find, where is it? Bam. So first, as always, guys, if you're looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals, from keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more. Our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. So if you guys ever need to find a new keyboard and more for your setup, we cannot recommend anyone else better than Kono. For more information, go ahead over to Kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's Kono store. Kono, discover amazing products. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking a quick technical break as we get ready for game 1 of this series. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready on the Rift here as both teams take to the typical 5-man defensive fan spread. No cheeky level 1 invades going to be going down on either side, but we got to take a moment to look at keystones. No fancy Halo Blades for Yasuo, as we've seen that has been a little flavor of the month here for some of the pro players at Worlds, but Nightshade is going to be rocking the Fleet of Footwork just to be able to keep up the lane sustain against Koskinen, because even though he should have his way with the lane, having a little bit of extra sustain isn't always a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely like the little cheeky war that BTN managed to place at that Raptors. Usually, if you want to get some tracking done, you want to see if he's going to be going to Raptors or not, because the biggest thing of what Xyle can do is that he can go from red into Raptors and go to bot side, or he could just full clear. That's the biggest thing. So BTN tracking the Zac, see where he's going, because if they're able to tackle Zac on the side that he's going to be weak on, it's going to be very important for Michigan State University.
Yeah, especially since you want to be able to make things happen on the side of MSU before Xyle gets to that level 5 that you were mentioning before in draft, once this flipper was blocked in here for Xyle. Now, starting on the top side, I'm going to go for a full clear. Should be hitting the red buff into Krugs into Raptors, and then he should be pathing towards bot side. Ooh, Dillerin, gotta be careful of those death sentences, man.
Yep, that's what he's doing. He's playing at the edge of that death sentences, making sure. But one thing I want to point out is that BTN actually is starting Raptors by himself, and knowing that Michigan State they kind of fake leashed it, came to the lane late. Let's see if Robert Morris University is able to pick up on that scent here. But with that being said, picks up those Raptors, going to be going to red, and you can see here Xyle going to be looking to do the full clear on that top side.
Now, there's been a couple times where death sentence lands on the Moonlight, but no one's to quite yet, so no further all-ins will be taking place, just some trading. But as we're going to say, BTN, there's some choices that Gragas have made at Worlds this year, whether they still stay on the map even despite having enough gold to get boots just to be able to make some unexpected plays happen, or if BTN will just opt into the fast recall for the Predator boots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, though, when we look at this game, Michigan State University, if they get their early game going, they definitely love to push that tempo. The games on their wins are usually averaging less than 25 minutes here, but Xyle looking for a gank here. Oh, yeah, they're going to get it. It has that ignite.
Get the elastic pull in, and first blood comes out unexpectedly for RMU.
Oh, man. Nightshade hugging that top side. For some reason, Gragas is on the bot side. Play towards your strong side, BTN. Can't be letting those ganks come in, but I told you, like I said, in draft, they have to tackle that Yasuo, and they're doing a good job so far.
Disrespect coming out from Nightshade, not thinking that Xyle was going to be active this early on in the game. And now BTN finally does have his Predator boots, has the chance to rectify the means potentially in mid lane, but Koskinen does have to be pushed up for that to happen.
All right, so just making sure we're taking a look at this game here. We know that they're tracking over Xyle on that bottom side. So, going to see what's going to be going on right now.
Xyle just clearing the bot side of the jungle now, has the level 4-5 quite yet, but we've already seen before, he doesn't need that level 5 mark to make things happen. He's going to get a hearty buy as he gets the Stalker's Blade for that Chilling Spite. We do see BTN in the top lane, preparing potentially a gank or a dive onto Riken, but both top laners have summoners, as well as BTN. Not sure if something will come to fruition here.
Yeah, this is a little weird. BTN, he's dropping all of his top side to make this gank work, but Riken has that flash. Can he get out?
Riken already burned the hop, and then beautiful by BTN, waits for the flash to come out, then does the body slam to lock him in place, and Young Pure Nation is going to pick up that kill.
Yeah, definitely a good kill from Pure Nation. This is a lane that you want to try and snowball in the early stages, and knowing that you're on the top side is an easier way of ganking and punishing it. But Xyle in the mid lane, looking for it.
Once again, he's still not level 5. He's making, oh man, Nightshade just clearly not expecting Xyle's ganks to be coming out this early so far. Meanwhile, on Pure Ruination might get another kill here on the Kingslayer Riken. Throws out the spear, barely misses it out. And he just teleported back here, Chilling Walk.
Yeah, Riken gonna be heavily punished here. Less than, only 20% health against that trade on Pure Nation. Hasn't even reset yet, has that TP. He's gonna be looking pretty solid in the top side, but Nightshade has to bounce back 0-2 in this lane. And look at Koskinen, 150 gold bounty so far.
Top lane going heavily in the hands of Unpure Ruination. We can't say the same for I Am Nightshade, as he has been ganked and punished twice now. Koskinen having about 700 gold up against his opponent, already has the lost chapter for that mana restoration in lane. Should have his way with the lane now.
Hook does get land. Spacemaker trying to make a play.
Moonlight doesn't get hit by the Blade Caller, so no root will come out for Mary Jerry. He was pretty low on health, so it was hard for him to be able to fully commit on that all-in play, but going for any type of poke and trade against him is always a good thing, as Xyle is going to tango a little bit with BTN as he's trying to defend the pink ward. Xyle is going to get knocked up and will have to elastic slingshot out of danger as he walks back into the safety of his jungle.
Yeah, I really actually like that play from BTN there, making sure that you're able to protect your top lane and Nightshade having that proud moving up just in case if a fight ever turns out, and see if you can get some gold backs. But Michigan State, they're still in it, only down 300 gold so far, and just got to wait until what happens when they turn 6. But Robert Morris University, their early game goals have been accomplished so far.
Yeah, playing towards the top side, getting Unpure Ruination ahead.
Oh, no.
Oh, baby. Koskinen with the bamboozle in the bush. Flashes in, gets the kill down on the BTN.
Oh, man. Koskinen, he's playing out of his mind right now, calling the ganks based on where the wave is at. From there, going into that bottom side because they know that BTN has to reset and go towards his Raptors and his Krugs, and not looking too good.
Koskinen has complete lane priority and control of this bottom side of the map now, but Moonlight trying to turn things around. You got to be careful. There's the knockup coming in from Nightshade, but you don't want to take that last breath right on the Xyle. Meanwhile, on the bot side, if Dillarin doesn't have his support, that means a 2v1 dive. Can he get out of this situation? Turret is taking down. The Spacemaker will go down, and it's absolutely disaster for the bot lane. Meanwhile, there might be a solo lane kill attempt here. Koskinen taking too much damage. The Ignite coming down from Nightshade, and he will get burned down from Nightshade, and he gets the shutdown gold.
Man, two things happening at the same time. In the bottom side, Mary Jerry and Spacemaker, they try to go for that 2-on-1 dive. Unfortunately, they didn't flash away. Spacemaker dying to the last turret shot. Mary Jerry getting punished by BTN. It's not looking so good now for Robert Morris, knowing that their bot side is losing it now. A shutdown gold going back to Nightshade, bringing him back into this game. And you can see here, they're already up 1k gold.
Absolutely nuts for the side of RMU, as this was not the set of plays that they wanted to happen, but Moonlight and Dillarin might be a little extended here. The Black Shield comes out. He won't get pulled in. Moonlight will get the knockup down. Dillarin taking a lot of damage. He's going to just try to turn things around and make something out of nothing, but he will eventually go down to Flubber. Moonlight trying to turn things around. Does get the killing blow onto Mary Jerry, but Moonlight will eventually fall to Xyle as he picks himself up the double.
Oh, man, unfortunately, even though you got that bot lane working, Xyle picked up both those kills. That means that Mary Jerry and Spacemaker aren't going to be having any sort of impact in the bottom lane, even though you're salvaging that bottom side of the play. And you can see here that MSU still 1k ahead.
Xyle looking for another again attempt onto BTN and pulls him in, and now Nightshade barely dodges out on the stun of the Scatter of the Weak. Koskinen looking for something more as Spacemaker was making his way towards that skirmish play, as well as Riken. There was about to be a 4-on-2 play here, but they're looking for that Dragon Prior.
And this is unfortunate because we look at BTN, he's level 5, Xyle is level 6 here, and that's mainly due to because of the ganks that he threw to the top side. He abandoned all of his top side camps for that top side play to get Unpure Ruination ahead, and you see here in level 5, unable to stay at 2v2, it's going to cost them.
And the fact that Riken is able to maintain the wave here in mid lane means that Nightshade cannot rotate over, so Mountain Dragon will go over in the hands of RMU. And it does slow down the snowballing potential that MSU do have in their composition here. But you have to look at the top lane here, Chilling Walk, because Unpure Ruination getting a ton of free time by himself in the top lane.
Gets that turret play, 30 CS ahead, but you know, that's not the plan here. You know, for Robert Morris University, you already lost that top side. Might as well see if you can rotate down. But on the bottom side, a fight's happening.
Darkbind into the traps from Dillarin, and there's the Soul Shackles. That's going to be one reset for Dillarin. Just needed a couple more auto attacks to be able to take down Mary Jerry. The flash comes out, but it's no avail as we see a 2-on-1 on Koskinen, the 3-on-1 on Pure Ruination, just making sure that he's able to power slide and get that killing blow.
Yep, they're looking for one more. The bind is going to land, man.
Way. Flash Dark Binding comes out. Xyle's going to be locked down. Mega Death Rocket comes out from Dillaran. It's an entire gangbang here from the side of MSU, and they take down Flubber.
All right, man. Keep this game G-rated. Too much going on. Too many people trying to pile drive onto one another. Let's keep it civil here. 2-0-1 on Unpure Ruin Nation, ulting down to the bottom side, and even then, let's give credit to that bottom side in the lane here. Moonlight landing double bindings onto Mary Jerry and Spacemaker, setting themselves up for that play. And wow, Michigan State University opens themselves up the map.
Almost 5,000, 4,000 gold ahead for the side of MSU. And already we're seeing the power spikes items come into place. Unpure Ruination has that Yuma's Ghost Blade, and we already see the power of his roaming with that power slide from the ultimate. Now he's looking for potentially a 3-on-1 gank attempt onto Koskinen, looking to shut down the Syndra. Does not have the flash. VTN does have the body slam, lands it. There's the knockup, the last breath, and the stun for good measure. And Nightshade is going to pick up the kill. It looks like top lane is pushing back out once again. I'm not sure if we lost our boy Chilling Walk here. Just want to make sure he's okay. F in the chat for Chilling Walk as he looks to recover. As Moonlight lands the Dark Binding, and it's a 3-on-3, but Spacemaker already going down this fast means that the 3-on-2 is going to be in favor of MSU. Explosive cast comes out. Mary Jerry is going to go down, and Zyle, all he can do is just look on in horror. There's no way to save this, but he's going to go back in. He doesn't have the ultimate. I don't know. What are you doing, Zyle? Dillaran is just going to say thank you for the free kill and the free turret as well.
Yeah, right there. He really did try a little bit too hard. The tower was already dead. He probably should have just walked away and left it out. And hi, guys. I'm Hyper filling in for a moment for Chilling Walk until he comes back.
Woo!
But yeah, with that, not only do they get that extra kill, they lose the tower, they lose all the plates. Basically, that's just like adding another thing for them to take. There's really no reason whatsoever to go in there. This Jinx is set up so massively to just carry the rest of this game. 5 kills, and as you can see, just so much gold is now another kill in the mid fight in the mid lane.
Yeah, Nightshade forcing the flash out of Koskinen, and teleport answer comes out for Riken, but he's all left alone.
Riken,
the rest of his team bailed.
TP sucked.
Oh man, poor Gnar first gets the bad lane matchup. He had the counter pick option, didn't work out for him, got camped, and now teleports into his death once again. And Moonlight looking to harass Zyle if he can get the Dark Binding down. Doesn't get the smite away as Zyle is able to secure the red buff, but still the harass not appreciated by the side of RMU. Potential reset here coming in for MSU as we see bot lane Dillaran making his way towards the top lane, as now the lane swap has come in, just looking to take down all of the outer turrets. As with an aggressive composition like this is pretty standard. This is what you want to do to be able to accelerate the game pace before things go late game and things are able to turn around. As Zyle is going to try to pull in Moonlight for the all-in. Riken has now hopped into battle, but the Mega Death Rocket will barely miss as Riken is able to escape with that flash. But Death Sentence comes in. Dillaran is going to get locked up, tries to flash away, trying to turn this around. Does get one kill on the Riken. Can he kite it out between two tanks? Looking for the kills on the Spacemaker is going to go down. The flash body slam comes out for BTN. Does Zyle have the passive, though? What the hell is going on? You can't mess with the Flubber.
Oh my god, that was a series of unfortunate events if I've ever seen one. And Mary Jerry, speaking of unfortunate.
Oh, Unpure Nation has found Mary Jerry. Can do to a man with a giant ass shield and a spear as he takes him down.
Yeah, that whole situation was just one massive clown fiesta. Heck. Oh my god.
Don't you love the smell of clown fiestas in the evening, Mr. Hypertension?
Yeah, and we're not even 15 minutes in, so it's not even time for a proper clown fiesta to starting up yet. I mean, seriously, it's only 14:48, and we're already seeing, what is it, 25 kills? We're averaging almost a kill and a half a minute?
Yeah, but it means MSU does have 8,000 gold in advantage for themselves, so they're definitely benefiting on the circus routes that are coming out from both of these teams, as Koskinen, the person that was significantly ahead after throwing that lead to Nightshade in that solo kill attempt. We do see an exchange of neutral objectives as RMU are going to try to go for potentially the Elder Dragon win condition. Ocean Dragon being picked up, so now True Dragons in their pocket. But the Rift Herald being claimed by MSU does give them more power to be able to close out this game sooner.
Oh man, I apologize, Rafa. My computer just crashed for some reason. I am back. I missed all the action. I know you were saying so much, man. Oh my god. The game though, 17-8. They're up 8K. The big question right now, what can Robert Morris University do? 1-3 in the top side, 0-5 in the bottom lane. The only person that's good is Xylo, Mary Jerry.
Goodbye, Mary Jerry. To the flash away was not going to be able to save you in that instance. The explosive cast allowing Nightshade to be able to clip him in with the last breath. Now, 3 members from RMU are going to look to defend the top side, but that just gives more space for Unpure Ruination and Dillaran to push out the bot lane and mid lane, respectively.
Yeah, however, even though they're 8K ahead, the biggest thing I want to give credit to Michigan State University is this objective control. They're controlling 2 main points in regards to the top siege turret. Nightshade is already on a side lane here, and this is where it gets very scary. The biggest thing of what Roberts can do is can they regain that vision? Can they fight in these vision chokeholds? And Riken getting caught out.
Oh, Riken getting interrupted by that hop from the body slam, and Unpure Nation is officially on a rampage, according to League Client here, as 4-0-3 on this Pantheon. Almost 2,500 gold up against this Gnar, man.
Yeah, and they use a Rift Herald on that bottom side for that bottom T2, and you can see here, I said this before, Rafa, when Michigan State gets a hold, they like to push forward as fast as they can. Dark
Binding does land on Xylo. He already used the Elastic Slingshot. He has Flash, but he also has Passive, so he doesn't want to use it quite yet. Space Maker being able to lend a hand with that Dark Passage gets him out to safety, but it does mean that this outer turret or the inhibitor turret will fall. Eventually, the inhibitor should fall as well with the amount of pressure that MSU is exerting. Moonlight trying to be the sacrificial lamb that just buys time as Xylo dives headfirst into the back line of MSU, and Moonlight will fall. Stopwatch is not going to be enough to be able to save him as the Zonia Hourglass was already popped. But here comes the power slide. Pure Ruination diving into the back lines. Takes down 1, takes down 2, takes down 3. Looking for a 4th kill. It's going to go over the PTN. But the triple will stand in favor for Impure Ruination. And it's only up to Riken to defend the pieces of his base.
Oh my god, Unpure Nation with that Grand Starfall onto the backside, killing 3 people, making sure Dillaran, even though he got caught out just a little bit, salvages that play. Dillaran 7-2-8. Making sure he can output that DPS. Unpure Ruination, you are looking like a god right now.
And at this point, it is just only elementary here for MSU. If you're a Sherlock Holmes fan, as they just start taking towers one by one, and Dillaran, definitely one of the better AD carries to be able to knock down these objectives, and the the chompers actually stop Xylo from being able to Elastic Slingshot and catch Dillaran out of place.
Yeah, some people don't know, but Jinx Chomper stops all dashes that goes through it. Not like any other sort of terrain here, so stops the Zac, can stop anything else. Echo Dash, anything that you think can hop over, it'll stop it. So the biggest thing though, Baron's coming up, 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Almost, what, 14K gold ahead for Michigan State University? They're going to close out this game real soon.
Yeah, when you have a 7-0-4 Panth, a 7-2-8 Jinx, doesn't seem very likely, and the chances are establishing a comeback, but it all just means it comes down to the execution from MSU. And, you know, easier said than done to be able to just close out a game with 10K gold lead in your pocket. But I've seen it happen, Chilling Walk. Even in UPL, teams throw leads like this. Let's just pray for the sake of MSU that they're not one of them.
Yeah, let's hope not. But one thing I want to ask, though, if you're Robert Morris University, you tackled the Gragas Yasuo in the early game. You got those 2 kills, but unfortunately, your side's still lost. That's one thing you have to think about, because it's not the Gragas Yasuo got played, but before I even get to that, Riken trying to look for something, and BTN on the backside.
Xylo and Space Maker just trying to establish vision control wherever they can so that they can fight back against the oppressiveness of this composition. But Body Slam barely missing out. The explosive cast comes in, and Riken doesn't have any magic resist, so the full AP Gragas is already benefiting at this point early on in the game, as the second tier turret on the top lane will fall in favor of MSU. Wave clear is coming out from Koskinen, but it's not going to be enough, as you got to be careful of the poke that you have from Pure Ruination with these spears. You have minions pouring in on the bottom side of the map as well. So it's just a waiting game for MSU before they pull the trigger.
Oh man, Rafa, this is so scary because right now, if you're Robert Morris University, you had to figure out a time to fight. It's 20 minutes up. Baron probably isn't needed from Michigan State University, so you have to make a hold sometime here. Zyle setting up those elastic slingshots here, but unfortunately, they're still losing. Look at Mary Jerry. He's down there on the bottom side, handling that wave. Pure Ruination handling the mid wave. And now you see here that they're going to be clearing out all this vision, and it's going to be dark for Robert Morris University just about now.
And at some point, MSU can always turn towards the Baron and force RMU to come to them to force the fight. They know that they have the better team at this point in the game. They have the gold advantage. Use that to your benefit and force that skirmish and the fight in your favor, or look for a pick. The vision is completely dark, as you said, on the top side of the jungle. And now Zyle and Spacemaker are going to try to poke their heads into as the Baron will be started up. A lot of vision comes down. There is no pink ward for the side of MSU, so things could be scary. You have to force the fight. Power slide, looking for the flank here on Pure Ruination.
Oh, man.
Force the flash out of our Ryken. So Mega Death Rocket will come out, but there's
no
they
flash.
need to stop hitting the Baron. This is making me really anxious here. Chilling Walk as Zyle can always just elastic slingshot right into the fray, but elastic slingshot will go on cooldown on Pure Ruination.
Oh no.
To go down. Baron will be secured by MSU, and Pure Ruination just doing the 2v3 with his friend Dillaran. Gnar comes out, slams him against the wall. Dillaran will fall, but the overall win goes to MSU, and they look to push in this victory with the Baron buff.
Man, I'm not too sure what Robert Morris University is trying to do there. You have Mary Jerry on the bottom side. Ryken has that TP, so why are you sending that Gnar to that fight when Mary Jerry should be there first? Has that flash and has that heal. That's your main source of DPS, so why the hell are you sending your AD carry to answer the bottom side? But I digress here, Rafa, because right now, Michigan State University, they're going to be looking to close out the game in a fast fashion like they're used to. All their winning games, when they smash this hard, it's always a less than a 25-minute kind of game, and this is going to be one of them.
Top lane inhibitor going down. Now it's just only the mid lane inhibitor that they need to take down, unless they're able to find a catastrophic victory on that the next fight that they're able to find. And Pure Ruination now has the Guardian's Angel. If we take one last glimpse of gold differences across the board here, it is almost 3,000 difference in the top lane. It is almost, oh my, don't look at the bot lane, guys. It might hurt. Almost 6,000 gold ahead for Dillaran.
That's what happens, man. You have that Morgana on the bottom side. Your Mary Jerry and Spacemaker wasn't able to pull the trigger on those 2v2s. And now, knowing that Dragon is up, knowing that they only have 2 objectives left, which is the middle lane and an inhib, but Zyle has to try and make a run out.
Trying to farm some camps, but you're not allowed in the game. Mary Jerry is going to take a Mega Death Rocket to the face as Dillaran will pick up his 9th kill of the game, and they're looking to push in this next minion wave into the bottom side of the map. Power Slide looking to come in for Pure Ruination as he can rotate over the mid lane, just making sure to be able to push along with his buddy Nightshade. The bottom lane inhibitor will spawn once again just to fall to the hands of MSU, and now Zyle trying to see if he can start something along with Koskinen, and he's really the only important damage dealer that you have on RMU, or at least I should say relevant, but Spacemaker already taking a bunch of damage, takes the flash as Moonlight flashes in for the engage with the Soul Shackles popping the Zonya's Hourglass to buy some time, as now the bottom inhibitor finally falls and Pure Ruination stashing in, getting the stun down to Koskinen, forcing him away, still has the flash, but Ryken building up the Mega Gnar, maybe he can look for something as he actually takes down Dillaran, now goes in, finds the Gnar onto one, Zyle's going to be able to join the fight as well, and Pure Ruination, however, will take him down. They trade one onto Moonlight, but will that be enough? That is the question on Koskinen. Does find the shutdown on the Nightshade, and now it's just Pure Ruination and BTN who are not able to end the game sub 25 minutes right now.
Oh man, and Michigan State University got way too overextended, but even then on Pure Nation, he's by himself here. They're still fighting.
Oh man, but they thought that they could turn the heads onto Pure Nation. Super fed Pantheon with the Guardian's Angel that hasn't even been popped up, and BTN is saying, you know what, you got this one, bro. Try to see if you can get the 1v1, and BTN maybe trolling my boy Pure Ruination a little bit as the shutdown comes in, and MSU are not going to end the game quite yet. And do I dare say it, Chilling Walk? Is this the signs of a comeback for RMU as Dillaran forcing the cleanse out? Koskinen using his own flash does take down the inhibitor turret, but what the hell, Chilling?
All right, Rafa, you said that there was going to be throws. You said that. You jinxed that for some reason, because when they overstayed, when they misfought that, Dillaran on the left side of that fight getting caught out by a Riken, not looking too good. That's what caused the entire collapse, because that's your main source of DPS. Nightshade wasn't really doing a lot here. He's only 5-3-3. Unpure and Ruination isn't that big source of DPS. So once Dillaran goes down, they have a chance of kind of going back and fighting it out. And knowing that Mary Jerry just spawned at the end of that fight to come back and clean and get some of those kills at the end of it, definitely helped him out. But still, it's a 14K gold lead for Michigan State University. 30-14. It's not looking too good. And when we look at the damage distribution here, Mary Jerry, their main source of DPS, is only 2-9, 2 items in, and Dillaran is already at 4. It's gonna be pretty hard to make a comeback against a 4-item Jinx and only 2 people having that source of armor.
It just makes it even more important for Koskinen and Ariken to be able to lock down Dillaran in place. Because if you're somehow able to miraculously take out this Jinx, then that 2-item difference doesn't mean the whole much in the grand scheme of things, because Mary Jerry won't have anyone trying to dive the backline here. Now, Nightshade and Pure Ruination are still big carries in their own rights, but the armor stacking is coming in for these front lines as Dillaran is found. QSS comes out on Pure Ruination now in a 1v4, but doesn't have Guardian's Angel. Nice on Evil. That's a 3-man Meganor right onto the front line of MSU. And now this is the time for Mary Jerry to turn things around with Koskinen. They're so low, but Dillaran was never killed in the back line. Mega Death Rocket finds the snipe, and to no avail, RMU trying to find the comeback. It was in their sights. But MSU, they had the gold lead, they had the better draft, they had the better champions, and Unpure Ruination is going to flex his muscles with the power slide. Game 1 will go over to MSU.
Oh man, Robert Morris University, they had the look. Zal managed to get to the backline, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter. Even though Riken gets a 3-man stun, they're just way too strong. They don't have the damage. You can start a fight. You can have the greatest front line in the world, but if your backline cannot output that source of damage, you're not winning that fight. And that's a clear example right here.
And if we can pull up the damage charts here, I mean, it's pretty disgusting. No, you're good. Dillaran was an absolute monster that game, was pretty much gifted the world. And we want to say that when we want to look back at how this game fell into the hands of MSU, we can say that it was all due to the efforts of BTN, setting up Pure Ruination for success on the top side of the map, or when Nightshade was able to get the reverse solo kill on the Koskinen after being down 0-3. But it really all fell by the wayside when the 2v1 bot lane dive went awry and Dillaran picked up that double kill.
Yeah, it's very scary here, especially when you're Robert Morris University. We talked about the damage, right? Dillaran pumped out almost 32,000 damage off of this Jinx alone. And the biggest thing is that when we look at BTN and we look at Unpure Ruination, they almost pumped out 20,000 damage themselves. But this is where we take a look at the draft, right? We talked about this. Even though that Gragas Yasuo did get tackled, you could see here that Yasuo only did less than 10,000, only 8,000 damage here. The 2v2 that they played, it wasn't even that part of it. It was about the side lanes in this game from Michigan State. They won the 2v2s by themselves gradually, and then from the gang's top side, Unpure Ruination was able to help out, get himself a lead, then help out the mid lane in regards to that. So that's the one thing I said, this draft is very scary to go against. If you're able to attack the Gragas Yasuo, that's great. But now your side lane's lost because of just either setting up the lanes, not tracking, small little things, small little mistakes here. And that's what happened.
Now, if you're RMU, you got to take some serious considerations of how this draft went down. I know a lot of people are memeing, how did Pantheon even get through the draft phase? And Unpure Ruination definitely was a monster, and but you have to look at the composition as a whole. Sure, ban away the Pantheon, but if that's the only thing you take away from how this draft came to be, then you're completely disrespecting the fact that how much priority and how much agency the side of MSU had to play with, and maybe it also comes down to just cleaning up execution errors, because that 2v1 dive really really set up Dillerin for success. And you know, memes aside, you know, it really did feel like bot lane difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty tough too. You tackle the Gragas Yasuo, but then your bottom lane just loses in the pure 2-on-2, and then that's where you want to think about, you know, what can we play that's different? What can we do to tackle it? Should we have even picked that Xayah at 3 at that place? Because the thing is that when you look at the draft itself, you first pick Syndra, you second pick Thresh, and then you pick Xayah, which is a very clear understanding of where the Syndra is going to be going, and you can't get the value of that flex, right? And that's one thing you have to think about, because the reason why that bot lane went so haywire was that Michigan State University gets a free bottom lane counter pick, which means that Syndra becomes useless. The Xayah Thresh has to play into Michigan State's hands, and then from there, what do you do? So,
yeah, and the you know, thankfully for us, we don't have to answer these questions. You know, we can try and give out our solutions, but it's going to come down to Robert Morris University, and that is what we will be finding out in just a few moments, folks, as we take a quick break. We can allow everyone to be able to rest up their cheeks and go over things, and then we will be getting ready for Game 2 draft in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting back on to the series here between Michigan State and Robert Morris University. Getting ready for pro draft between both of these teams. And Siri wants to chime in as well, but this is not the time or the place. It's Chilling Walk. What are some of the things that we're looking to, for at least in terms of change from the side of RMU in their draft phase?
This is pretty tough here because the thing about Robert Morris University is that they do value the Pantheon. They do like the Renekton as well. They're okay flexing those two into the mid lane. So the question is, what is Michigan State going to do, right? The Draven might be high priority for both teams when both teams like to value it. I just want to see what's going to happen. Honestly, I can't really tell because for Robert Morris University, they had to change up their entire game plan when it came from game 1 going into game 2. Just because Michigan State University, you could say, got a near perfect draft. And that's one thing when you talk about a draft, right? It's not that hard to get the right draft, but it's very, 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 very easy to screw up a draft. And Robert Morris University, even though they did do some things with their draft in the early stages of the game, one could definitely say that Robert Morris University's draft in game 1 wasn't the best.
We're just hoping that they clean it up a bit, that they show that they're ready to adapt. If we take a look at the first few bans, it was the Kha'Zix, the Kayle, and the Draven from RMU, and they're going for the Kha'Zix first ban once again. And for MSU, that means if they're not going to change anything, then we don't either, because game 1.
I'm not too sure about the Kha'Zix ban, honestly. Maybe it's just a lot of respect for BTN. I know that he is a Kha'Zix fanatic, but still, it's something that doesn't see a lot of play here. It has a pretty solid counter into the Jarvan 4, but regardless, I'm not too sure about this Kha'Zix ban. And Michigan State still sticking with the Kennen ban as well. Just two definitely weird bans that I'm not too sure of, even though I know Riken loves the Kennen. It's his most played. Robert Morris University doesn't really have the tendency of putting him on these kind of carry or split pushing champions. Usually they want him on that 5-man team fight or something that can just pinch when you're on the 1-4. So, just got to see what happens.
Well, we see the first change in the draft phase here for RMU. They have taken away the Gragas here from BTN now. So just to remind everyone, the other jungler ban that was in the draft phase from game 1 was that Karthus, respectively from RMU, taken away from BTN. But both the Gragas at least is a champion that enables plays, gives agency to the side of MSU for that early priority, and the Kiana is going to be once again banned, this time as blue side instead of MSU. So that means MSU are taking away the Pantheon away.
Really smart here. This means that there's not a lot of flexes here. Robert Morris University does have the Syndra. I was about to mention that. Something that can be flexed in the mid and bottom side. Yasuo still is up for the mid lane, but knowing that Gragas is out of the game here, you're not going to see that duo as much for this one. The biggest thing, though, is that Draven is up for Michigan State University. So if Michigan State University want to set up this Draven pick, they definitely can. It is going to be a tough matchup into the Syndra in the bottom lane if Robert Morris University goes in. But there is that Kayle that was banned in game 1. So they're going to be looking to pick that up, seeing where they can flex it, and going to see what Robert Morris University wants to do in regards to this Kayle.
Yeah, and something we can't brush over either is that Syndra was locked in as the first pick for RMU. So apparently there is just a ton of priority for Koskinen to have this champion in his hands. Now, we can't say that he did not impress us. He had some help from Xyle getting those early ganks, and even in the moments of the late game where they were 10k gold lead down, 10k gold down, there were moments of brilliance of him finding multiple man stuns with that Scatter of the Weak and almost bursting out Doran despite being super far ahead in terms of gold. So we'll have to see how that comes to fruition here. MSU locking in the Olaf, and RMU finally picks up the Draven here from Mary Jerry, and Thresh might be the support to pair it up with.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Robert Morris. They did this in game one, as like I said before. They picked that Syndra, using it as a sort of flex, but then they don't flex it. So what does this mean? Does Robert Morris University, are they able to play that Syndra the bottom lane, or are they just using it as a takeaway? You're not getting value from this flex pick. And knowing that even though Syndra is one of the top picks in the mid lane right now, Michigan State University, they have a lot of counters and a lot of unorthodox ones at that. They have the Olaf in the jungle now, and And with that J4 being banned here, they can try and set up a winning 2v2, knowing that the only major counter from Olaf is gone.
MSU have definitely their ways. I'm not sure how the Kale and the Syndra matchup goes. I would imagine that since Koskinen was able to dominate that lane so easily after receiving help from Xyle in the jungle, that he should have his way with someone like Kale, who doesn't have that much presence in the early game and wants to scale, get to that hyper carry late game status. And MSU, they do put out the Zac respect ban, as Ashe is going to be the choice of champion for the bot lane.
Yeah, well, Mary did play it a couple games before, so going to see him back on the Ashe. More of a utility AD, so the question is Michigan State University, they could play towards bottom lane post 6. Nothing. One thing for Michigan State, though, is that, what do they want to do here? Can they play it here? And I apologize, it's supposed to be Dillaran. I actually haven't seen Dillaran on this Ashe here. I think this is going to be his first time. Actually, he played it once before, so it's going to be something pretty surprising here if Michigan State can play around that bottom side. But Morgana, going back to the Gnar, though, man. Not too sure about Robert Morris University going back to the Gnar with that Lee Sin into the Olaf. So going to be very tricky here. They want to play for winning lanes. Michigan State, what do they round off their comp with?
Yeah, the question comes down to, do MSU give the counter pick up to the Gnar in the top lane, or they give it to the Syndra in the mid lane, as Kale can flex into either. And MSU with 2 seconds on the clock, the Galio is going to be the answer of choice. So we are going to see Unpure Ruination with that Kale in the top lane. He's just going to take the scaling matchup, and Gnar can be a potential lane bully in certain matchups. And against Kale, I wouldn't imagine that he's going to be able to bully him outright. And Unpure Ruination should be able to get through this lane just fine, unless Xyle takes a visit with this Lee Sin.
I'm actually surprised with the Galio because historically we've seen Syndra being picked into the Galio as a counter, knowing that you can keep him away, you can constantly just chip him down with those spheres. So Michigan State picking that Galio, see if they can play towards those side lanes, most likely just trying to protect this kill, because once Unpure Ruination gets to level 11, has those 2 items, he's able to just kind of take over a team fight. So I definitely am skeptical about this pick, but it definitely rounds off the comp really well. So just got to see how well Robert Morris University is able to abuse this Galio and abuse the 2v2s.
I will say that after the game 1, not trying to bag on Nightshade and his Yasuo performance, but he did get camped pretty hard, and even then when getting the solo kill back, he wasn't really the main carry of the team. He wasn't the star of the show, and he was just there. But when you're Yasuo, it feels like you have to be the main carry. I mean, that's why you're there. The utility that you provide on the wind wall is very nice, as well as getting some knockouts with the Steel Tempest, but I am more of a fan of him being on the Galio, because now he can enable his jungler in BTN. Olaf wants to run in. He wants to just start throwing axes and just really crack him down with the true damage, and Galio is going to be able to support him with that. You don't get the damage reduction anymore on the ultimate, but massive AoE knock.
And this is one thing. This is one thing that Michigan State loves to do: pick 2 strong wing sides, pick a mid laner that can hold on to his own and impact side lanes. So this is going to be going to what Michigan State is really good at doing. We saw that happen in game 1. Nightshade got tackled in the early game. It doesn't matter, because your 2 strong side lanes are going to be winning regardless, right? So why not catalyze them with this Galio pick? And this is something, even though on a matchup level is very bad, for Michigan State, it looks good. It sounds good for their composition and the way they play. So that's one thing you have to credit for Michigan State.
At this point in time, we can just only imagine how BTN and Xyle want to play the early game. You have some ways that you can stop BTN from snowballing on this Olaf, as in the early push in the wave clear. I haven't seen a Galio Syndra matchup in quite some time, since Galio has just kind of fallen out of the meta ever since his glory days with that Aftershock mid back in spring. But I would imagine that Syndra should be able to have the bullying prowess. As you mentioned before, Syndra does have that favorable matchup as being a counter pick into the Galio. I don't even know if Galio is supposed to build full AP these days. Does he flex?
Oh Oh yeah, he builds full AP. He wants to try and shut someone down. He wants to blow someone up.
All right.
But the
Hell
biggest
yeah.
thing I want to think about is what's going to happen level 1, because if Koskinen pushes level 1, it means that Lee Sin is actually able to kind of stop the Olaf from counter jungling, or if not that, just got to see what Olaf can do, because the biggest thing is that BTN with the Galio mid, unfortunately, level 1, 2, 3, you're not going to be counter jungling as much. So, and Syndra can also rotate, and knowing that if Syndra is level 3 around that time, it's very scary for the Olaf to just kind of face check into the enemy jungle here. So, gonna see what Koskinen and Zal wants to do. It's gonna be very, very 2v2 focused, because you could see here that side lanes, it can go either way. But for Robert Morris University, they have Mary Jerry on the Draven, one of his signature picks, Space Maker on a Hook champion. So you could definitely see that they're going to be playing towards that bottom side as soon as they can.
Yeah, and they have a little bit more agency in this game this time around, and which is I would like to see in terms of adaptation. But as we're getting ready for game 2, ladies and gentlemen, we have another sponsor shout out to Sector 6. And Sector 6, guys, they're an leading esports apparel company providing on-demand printing for groups of all sizes. Sector 6 apparel designs comfortable and stylish for professional esports organizations and collegiate programs, as well as your very own. Upsurge Esports has a partnership with them. If you want a premium esports clothing and would like to support us at the same time, guys, head over to Sector 6 Apparel at sector6apparel.com/collections/upsurge-esports, and you'll be able to check out all the super fire merch. And I can actually personally attest as well to Sector 6, as I've worked with them before, and we've created some apparel lines for other esports organizations, as well as streamer collections. They're super friendly and they're very easy to work with. Highly recommend not only their products, but as well if you want to work and promote your own esports org with them, definitely a good recommendation. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're taking one more technical break as we get ready for game 2. Don't turn off that browser, guys. We'll be right back. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for game 2 of the series between Michigan State University and Robert Morris University. Robert Morris University are currently down 0-1. So MSU, this is match point for them as they are looking to close out this series an easy 2-0 and maintain their first seed place. But BTN kind of in a bad spot as he takes the very scary route back to his turret, but thankfully is able to get out alive without burning one of his summoners.
Yeah, Ralph, I don't know about that. You're invading Olaf. He has an axe. I'm surprised they actually didn't want to take that fight here, knowing that, like, Olaf axe is fucking hurt, man. But I'm actually surprised that
I would have to
BTN
agree.
respected that. But, you know, just showing some respect. You know, it's just weird. You never really want to invade an Olaf, and then the Olaf backs away on an invade.
Well, BTN just giving them false hope, saying, hey, I'm not an aggressive player. I don't just start running in with my axes face first. But BTN is going to start his Raptors once again without a leash. So this does give his side of MSU the advantage of being able to kind of cloak where BTN is starting. They have no idea whether he is going bot side or top side of the map. You can infer, but you never really know. And as there is no early wards coming in from RMU, they're not going to be able to track BTN as easily in the first few minutes.
And of course, here you see that Unpure Ruination showed up a little bit late here. Didn't burn any sort of mana. Actually, might have burned a little bit of mana before showing up, so could reveal that he's starting up on the red. But biggest thing, of course, is how this Olaf operates. I'm actually surprised that he wants to do this red buff start here. Of course, his tempo is going to be slowed because he doesn't get a leash. But in the meantime, his side lanes do get some sort of priority. So hopefully that kind of bounces back and gets him some sort of recovery here. But yeah, just got to see how Mayor Jerry on his cover pick on the Draven. Can he stomp this bottom lane?
And he's going for the press the attack. He's looking to just rail in the damage here as Dillaron has opted in. This is a double Comet bot lane, by the way, from Mine and Dillaron. So the poke is going to really freaking hurt onto Mary Jerry. And without a support like Nami or Soraka to be able to keep Mary Jerry topped off in lane sustain, he's going to really have to rely on just the 1 health pot as well as the 3% lifesteal from this Dorn's Blade to even be able to match up.
And this is the one thing about what happens when you're playing double casters into, you could say, a pseudo melee support, right? Any sort of melee support, regardless, is that you want to try and chip them before any sort of all-in that they want to commit, because if you're deterring them from all-inning, it means that you're winning the lane. You could see here that both of them already have 50% health. Mayor Jerry already blowing his first potion here, and this means that Diller Moonlight just gets a poke at him and chip at him away, and when they keep on doing this, it's not enticing for Spacemaker and Mayor Jerry to try and look for an opportunity, and this is going to be pretty hard if they want to try and make a swing here. But on the top side, Riken.
Oh, Flash comes out for Impure Nation and sidesteps the Sonic Wave from Zyle. He's going to be able to walk out with his life.
Man, I didn't know Impure Ruination was from the South Pole because he got some happy feet dodging that Sonic Wave there. Making sure he gets out alive. And all right, making sure his Kale stays alive. That's the goal. Okay, if you can get to level 11, get your 2 items, you're going to be popping off soon. And the hook landing in.
Death Sentence lands in, but it's a 3v2. The Bamboozle has come out, and the Binding comes in, and Spacemaker tried to dodge it, but it landed onto Mary dead, and First Blood is gonna come in for Dillaron.
Oh man, Rafa, that's such a feels bad, man. When you're watching that bind here, you're gonna get binded, so you flash away, but then Mary Jerry, you're like, bro, you should have taken that. Oh, it's looking bad, but even then, Zyle trying to punish Unpure Ruination, and still not looking too good.
And he landed the Sonic Wave this time, but unfortunately this time around, Impure Ruination is able to have the last laugh on this one, as now he's just preventing Zyle from being able to recall.
Ooh.
And Riken now trying to bounce into the fray. He's looking to try to get some damage down. He is going Mega, but he's getting dangerously low. He's got to be careful against the Kale.
Yeah, pretty hard here. You're jumping into a minion wave, right? That means that all those minion waves are going to be compounding that damage, and it's going to accumulate. You can see there, he jumped in, didn't like it. I don't think you can reset here, my man. Impure Ruination can freeze it. You're going to have to stay here and push that wave in, and you can see here BTN running straight to the top side to make sure that Riken can get punished by pushing this wave. And this is going to be very scary for Riken.
And even though Impure Ruination doesn't have a lot of mana, Riken is still dangerously low here, and Impure Ruination is going to fancy extending his lead. He does he is actually sitting on a biscuit and a red pot at the moment. So he is super comfortable staying in this lane against Riken. And with Xyle reset and going to the bottom side of the map, Upsurge Nation has complete wave control.
Yeah, if I'm Upsurge Nation, I call my jungler topside right now because this man, he's gonna have to push in or he's gonna have to TP to this wave. And you can see here, Riken has to force that TP. He's gonna have to get that wave shoved in, and even then, Upsurge Nation has it. But even then, though, Mary Jerry, even though he died once, still up CS just a little bit, but he needs to get a kill in this lane. Otherwise, this Draven pick is gonna be very useless entering the mid game.
Oh, no. Flash binding comes out. Mary Jerry's able to flash it in time, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, Chilling Walk, I'd rather trade my support's flash for that Draven.
Oh, you said it right, Rafa. Medjay not having flash against Dillaran. When level 6 comes, when those bindings come, he's going to want it, or else he's going to depend on that Lantern. Spacemaker, you better save your AD carry's life, because if that Draven dies one more time, he's going to be useless.
And Nightshade is definitely not getting completely destroyed by Koskinen in the mid lane. As BTN has found Riken. He still has flash if he needs to get out of Conqueror being progged by BTN. But Riken finally flashing out at the last second away. The Ragnarok is going to come out. Riken and now going to try to kite his way out, but he still gets him down. Spacemaker does get the death sentence down, but Koskinen not having ultimate quite up and ready. He now is going to pop it down onto Nightshade, and Xyle is coming in for the flank and the reinforcements. Nightshade flashing away, but Xyle just needs to land one Q, one dream to be able to make everything different, but Unpure Ruination. No! Dark Binding into...
That was a blind Dark Binding, man!
Oh, Moonlight just has the reads, knows where Koskinen needed to be. He's able to get the shutdown onto Koskinen and picks up a kill for himself, and now almost 2,000 gold in the lead for MSU and only 7 minutes into the game.
You know, I didn't know that Moonlight was playing some FPS because these bindings have been heat-seeking. We saw that a lot in Game 1. Game 2, he throws on blind bind to hit Koskinen to make sure he dies. Man, Moonlight, he's kind of popping off right now.
And Moonlight is definitely having a very fantastic series. You know, first, the Morgana for this game, and then of course it's just a repeat performance as Morgana, even though it was the Jinx the last time around, just being able to run it back both times, and we saw how active he is and just willing to be able to go in for the flash engages with the soul shackles, and he was able to rush the Zonya's Hourglass to be able to make those engages happen. Taunt lands down onto Koskinen. He still has flash, but can you run away from BTN? He will be able to get out alive, but does take a huge chunk of health in price.
Yeah, still, that's that flash being taken away from Koskinen. That means that the next gang that comes in from BTN, he can look for it. Knowing that Mary Jerry has no flash either. Spacemaker also doesn't have any flash. No flashes at all except for Xyle. And this means that whatever gang comes in, they have so much gank assist from the bottom side for Michigan State here. And see here that they're just hovering, and it's going to be a 3v3 on the bottom side, but Galio's coming in.
Oh, and here comes the hero's entrance. Ragnarok. PTN, and he's looking for the taunt. Unfortunately, he can't taunt flash anymore, so Nightshade is not going to be able to get
Moonlight
as he wants to, but Dillaran is under the tower in the air. He's pulling Legolas play, and he looks to take him down. Double kill is actually going to come in for BTN. The dive is being extended super far now, and Koskinen is finally being able to roam over to the bot side of the map, does find the killing blow onto Dillaran, but will fall to Nightshade. Double kill does come in for Koskinen, and he tries to even things as best as he can, but the overall advantage still goes to MSU.
Oh man, honestly, the beginning of that dive was actually very, very well executed. Unfortunately, Dillaran and Moonlight, they were taking their turret shots at the beginning of it. Once Nightshade dropped that aggro, and that's where it kind of cost them. But still, they picked it up. BTN 4-1-3. He's going to be a major factor entering the 15-minute stage of the game where it's going to be strong, and they want this turret really bad.
They're pushing for it. The Crystal Arrow comes down on Mary Jerry. Does one help, but he finds out the axe at the last second. He's able to kill one, looking for another on the Spacemaker. The flash comes in, it's to no avail. Double kill once again for the Viking himself, and he's going Warrior Enchantment, so you know he's putting out the damage, and Xyle barely escapes with his life.
Oh man. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter because Mary Jerry, he is 0-3 on this Draven. I said this before, when you're entering the game, this Draven needs to pop off because right now, that's your engine in the early game. And if that engine isn't working, if it's not if it's not being repaired, then what's going to happen? Your car's going to break down. You're going to be stuck in the middle of traffic, and that means that this is going to be a gigantic roadblock waiting in the ahead of you. And this isn't looking too good, Rafa.
Yeah, my apologies on the technical difficulty, but I definitely agree with you. I think we've gotten everything secured. Just little voice sensitivity, noise gate issues, but just turn that off. We're going to let everything come through, and I think that should solve the trick. As you said, a chilling walk. MSU, once again, are in the lead, and it's just thanks to BTN on the jungler, who is just absolutely demolishing on this Olaf. And the gold lead, almost 2,300 in the lead for God. BTN, you're a monster, man.
And of course 6-2-5 here, man. He is gigantic. Has 2500k gold lead overall a 4k gold lead in the 5k gold lead, actually, apologize, in the side of Michigan State University. And again, this Kale has been touched, has that gunblade as well, almost approaching level 11. So approach that 15-minute mark, it's going to be very scary for Robert Morris University if they want to come back.
And the man that we looked at for a potential comeback was in Koskinen in the first game. But this time around, even though he's been able to trade back blows, he's still not that far ahead in terms of gold. The 1,000 gold lead is admirable, but in the grand scheme of things, is Moonlight looking for an engage onto the top side, and Riken looks like he flashed over the wall. Nightshade getting engaged on by Zyle as he lands the Sonic Wave, but the knockup comes in. Enough damage might be able to come back out, but the Electrocute proc comes in as Koskinen does take down the Nightshade, even though he did attempt to flash away.
Yeah, a little bit of split calls there. They're trying to go hard on Riken to see if they can punish him on the move here, but unfortunately it didn't work out here. Nightshade does go down in the grand scheme of things, but here comes the man. He's berserking. He's going wild.
Get him down, and here comes Broloff, and he's looking to put down the pain train, but he does eventually fall to Zyle and Koskinen as that stopwatch bought a lot of time for the side of RMU to be able to turn things around, and they get the shutdown, and now Moonlight will also fall as Zyle does pick up the double kill on the Lee Sin.
Okay, when you know that you're picking an Olaf and you're going in ham, this is the one thing you got to think about when you're a Viking. Sometimes you say they're uncivilized, sometimes they're very smart for, being super aggressive. That time, I don't know what's going on at BTN's head here. He was looking a little bit reckless, and I guess living up to the Viking name.
Now Dillaron might find himself into the Blind Monk, and it's a 2-on-1. There is the boulder toss and lands into the Meganar. Now, Nightshade trying to turn things around, but Zyle's able to escape. Can he be able to turn things down onto Riken? He has Mercury Tread, so not as much damage is going to come through from Nightshade, but he just needs one more Winds of War to be able to lock down Riken, but he looks like he's going to be able to speed away on the Mini-Gnar. Nightshade going in for the Justin's Punch to get some distance, but the Winds of War is not going to connect.
However, they're going to be behind tempo on this top T1. That's the one thing we talk about when we're looking at Michigan State, right? They got that bottom tier 1. They're flipping over the top side. They're abusing these tempos that Robert Morris University isn't really keen on. And Spacemaker, he's going down, man.
He's freaking dead. There's no way that Spacemaker can get out of that situation, especially with Olaf this far ahead in the game. Warrior Enchantment into Black Cleaver already before 15 minutes. As soon as he has Ragnarok, he can just run over anyone. And it's going to be round 2 in the ring again. BTN looking to put the pain drain down on the Gnar. As he's able to hop away to safety, but still, you have to respect the power of this Viking.
Oh my God, man. 8-3-3. Why are you face checking in the jungle? You know he's there. Get away from him. But even then, though, I got a kick.
Zyle with the fancy moves gets the ward hop into the kick flash, but your Purination will still not go down despite the efforts, and the flash will be traded.
Yeah, super good flash right there. Dodges out in the Sonic Wave, has that Ocean Drake, and has a Gunblade, so he should be doing okay here. But right now, BTN, he's running rampant on both sides. He was just top, he was bottom, now he's mid. He's helping out all the lanes, and you can see here he's taking every camp he can.
Zyle was trying to make some things happen. BTN doesn't have Ragnarok quite yet, but he's ready to turn things on its head. He's got a full item advantage over Zyle, so he's not afraid to be able to tango in a 1v2, and he's looking to put the pressure down as he's trying to pressure him out of this red buff. Look at the damage coming out. Ragnarok comes out, flashing in for another axe, but he can put the auto attacks down, the true damage with the Reckless Sling. Just one more auto attack should be able to do the trick. The axe is not going to clip him quite yet for enough damage. And Koskinen does find the opportunity, throws out the untapped power, but it's not going to be enough. Moonlight is going to be able to walk out safely, just barely.
Oh man, these Spice, man, BTN just kind of running rampant, still healthy, and Robert Morris, they're trying to throw everything they have at this damn Viking, but still, BTN might be able to detect Xyle here, and you can see here, he's just staying in the enemy territory. Oh no.
Oh wait, why would you do that, Xyle? No, Xyle, you're trolling, dude. You were fine. You could have gotten out, but Xyle just, I don't know what to say about that, Chilling Walk.
That's a big Shibal moment if I've ever seen one, man. You don't ward hop forward. You don't do those things. Yeah, it's just too much to handle. But Spacemaker, they want to try and go on Pure Urination, but not going to be looking forward. And still, they're cracking every outer turret as fast as they can, and they're looking for Koskinen.
Koskinen flashing immediately away from the engage, but the Winds of War almost taking him down despite the defensive flash as the second tier turret in the mid lane will fall to MSU. And once again, 16 minutes here, Chilling Walker, we're looking almost at a 10,000 gold lead.
And this is pretty debilitating if you're Robert Morris University, because game one, you had those glimmers of hope, especially in the early game. This game, you still have glimmers of hope from Koskinen 2, 4-2-2, same thing with Xyle, but still, it's just not looking too good. And Nightshade trying to catch out Xyle, but not going to turn out well. And when you're Robert Morris University, it's just tough. And that's the one thing I want to think about, Rafa. How do you bounce back? You know, if I'm them, we have to try and defend this jungle. We have to try and make sure we're playing off Koskinen because he's our carry. And even then, Binding lands and they're going in.
Oh, Death Sentence does connect onto Moonlight, and despite the Dark Binding being able to trade back, he still goes down for that miss position. And Moonlight, something uncharacteristic, as we know that he has been prone to go for the engages, and Koskinen barely dodging out the Crystal Ash Arrow thanks to the Dark Passage, but the engage is still in favor for MSU, and they're wiping them out one by one as Xyle and Koskinen will fall. Spacemaker barely getting out safely, but he's going to have to retreat.
I'm just not too sure what you're trying to do, Robert Morris University. You have Riken pushing in the middle lane, about to break that mid T1, and then you opt into a 4-on-4, which you know you're going to lose because this is before 20 minutes where BTN is super big. What's going to happen? They're just going to run rampant here, especially with Kale Ultimate as well. And that's the one thing about Robert Morris University right now, which is costing them this game. They're making these weird calls. You're fighting, you're making picks, but then you already have an advantage. You got the pick off Morgana, great. Use it. Let Riken do his job as a split pusher, and still not working out. But Pure Ruination caught in between a rock and a hard place.
And he doesn't have flash. Hero's Entrance is going to come out, and Moonlight actually flashing over the wall, trying to turn things around. They do take down Riken. 3-on-4. It's about to be a 4-on-4 as Dillaran has also made the tread over. It was all an elaborate ruse, a debate if you must call it. The double kills will come in favor for Dillaran as they do lose in Pure Ruination, but they take down 4.
Oh man, that's such a tough thing to see. You catch the Kale, she still has ultimate, they use it, and then from there you just get turned around. You're going to be losing your bottom tier 3 right now as well, and this is even before 20 minutes. You have such a map objective. It's 11k gold lead ahead, and again, this is looking like game 1 for Robert Morris University. Making some weird calls, making some weird individual decisions, and it's costing them. While Michigan State, they have all these globals, they have all these tools to keep them alive, and it's working out well.
And we don't want to generalize RMU based on just these 2 games. It could be just against MSU, they are, you know, outmatched, outdrafted here. But it seems that Koskinen and Xyle are really your only 2 players that you can reliably depend on, be able to carry you through games. But Lee Sin and Syndra, this wasn't a 2v2 that we never saw in the early game come to fruition. Xyle only was on the top side of the map trying to get Riken ahead in Unpure Ruination, and he was completely fine. He was untouched. Yeah, you burned a flash, but you never got a kill. And now they're paying for it because this is an early game oriented composition. There's no real late game insurance for the side of RMU. So the later the game goes on, it just plays into MSU's favor.
And that's the one thing you have to think about if you're a team that's built for the early game. It means that you have to emphasize on that execution because otherwise you're not going to have that insurance. And this is what's costing him. You picked the Draven in the second rotation. Your Syndra, you didn't get value from the flex of it because you picked Draven so early, assuming that you don't want to give it to Dillaran on third pick, right? And this is what's hurting them. If they're able to flex that Syndra, if they're able to take that Syndra into the Draven possibly, or if not that, maybe not pick the Syndra altogether, because even though Koskinen is doing well in both games so far, it's not paying off for him because Mary Jerry is debilitated. He didn't do well in game 1 off natural 2v2s, and even when you have the Draven here, you're not able to pressure and give agency for that lane itself. And you can see here 1, 4, and 3 only has that Bloodthirster, and Dillaran went for that Triforce second item after that Essence Reaver. Oh,
Crystal
man.
Arrow lands. He just needs to get the knock up into the taunt before Koskinen is able to click the lantern, but he still barely gets away, and even the Ragnarok Undertow doesn't come in, but he's still able to just run him over with the flash. And on Pure Ruination, did he just get a 1v2 on the bottom side of the map?
That's what happens, man. You let that KO get to level 11, get those 2 items as safe as he can. This is what's going to happen, and it's very hard here. And if I'm Robert Morris University, we have to take a look at the value of the Syndra pick, the question of this Draven, do we have an answer to it? At the end of the day, you can always say it comes down to prep, right? And this is the thing, the Kale is something super valuable. Riken trying to salvage it and still going to be going down. And it's just so tough for Robert Morris.
Riken's trying, right? He's trying to last ditch effort. He's not just jacking off in base, doing nothing, and just saying, all right, better bot wins or better jungle wins or whatever. They're making an attempt. They're trying. But RMU, you can't salvage this game at this point. It's about 15, 17,000 gold, 21 minutes into the game. RMU, there has to be things. It's just a fundamental about the team identity, about who you're giving priority in terms of draft picks, or are you saying when you're giving Draven and Thresh that early into the draft without seeing the bottom lane from MSU for Mary Jerry, you're saying, you know what, Mary Jerry can confidently play this pick into any matchup. He's going to be completely fine, or Xyle is going to play around it. Right. And that didn't happen at all. In fact, the early game plan, from what it seemed like, was Xyle was gonna try and help Riken snowball and put Unpure Ruination down, and that led to nothing. And because of that, BTN was able to benefit off the fact that Dillaron and Moonlight had a double combo poke bot lane that put Mary Jerry and Spacemaker super low, and it's easy to dive them early on.
And that's the thing here. You can tackle the kill all you want, but if it hits 30 minutes, you know that kill is going to be fed regardless, right? Especially at 40 minutes. It doesn't really matter. That's their late game insurance. You have to tackle the early game of what the plan is. You have a Draven, you have a Thresh. That's the kill lane. Do you have gank assist from Gnar? Sure. But still, that's a lost cause, because eventually the Kayle is going to be out split pushing the Gnar at some stage, while in the meantime, your Draven could be the gateway into the mid game, the gateway into ending the game at 20 minutes, the gateway into just securing Baron. And that's the thing when you look at aggressive team compositions. How do we get to, what do we need to end the game? And then from there, what's the first step of getting to that position? Because at the end of the day, you need that Baron at 20 minutes, because that's going to help you secure the later stages. And to do that, you go through your Syndra and your Draven to get to that point.
And even then, if this Syndra pick is not really translating into mid game advantages, even after playing around it, if you can actually get a game of playing around Koskinen, then you need to find another pick, a pick that I'm not sure what is in Koskinen's comfortable champion pool, but if he has anything that can roam very easily, or has tools like the Galio, or and maybe if he's running some type of weird pocket Talia, or if he has an assassin pick that can really influence the side lanes and just be able to come in with ease without having some access to mobility tools in this kid. Because it's both times Koskinen's been in a comfortable lane state. He even had ganks from Xyle in the first game, and he still gave up a solo kill advantage over to Nightshade. So I don't know. You tell me, Chilling Walk.
It's hard, because at the end of the day, right now, imagine if you're on a team and you're the mid laner and you have 2 side lanes, but unfortunately they're naturally losing. Like, which one do you help? It's kind of like pick your own poison. If you help out this side, that means that side's going to lose, right? So that's where it becomes very, very hard. And that's where, if you take a look at Robert Morris University's drafts back then, usually on the top side, it's on a tank. You know that you're going to be playing towards that bottom side. The tank, it doesn't matter as long as he's living. He doesn't go 0-5. It doesn't lose his turret by like 10 minutes, right? So why not go back to the style you're comfortable at? Because right now they're putting Riken on these kind of pinching top laners, these top laners that maybe want more economy. and it's not working out because for Robert Morris, for Michigan State, it works out for them. They have two side lanes that loves to fight, loves to try and push their objective, or if not that, are able to kind of just sit still. Whereas Nightshade, sometimes he does unorthodox things, dies solo, especially in game 1, right? So Nightshade is the one who kind of is the pillar for that team and can influence the side lanes. So if I'm Robert Morris University, I go back to what I'm good at, what we're comfortable with. Sure, maybe it's out of meta, and maybe it's very unorthodox to play like a tank topside because right now tanks aren't the best, right? But if it's your comfort, why not push it forward? And that's one thing if I'm asking RMU, like, why not, right? If this style isn't working, maybe try the style that you used to. Or if not that, you're going to have to refine the style and make sure that your side lanes are playing as well as they can be in the laning stages.
There's definitely things that RMU are going to have to answer for themselves. And, we can only speculate as we don't know everything. We don't know what is going on behind the scenes for the coaching staff, for the players. And, everything that we suggest and we talk about, we don't, making sure that we're not personally attacking anyone. We want to see some good League of Legends gameplay. That's all we're looking for. And we want, in the spirit of competition and of course promoting the North American scene so that we can finally send a competent team to Worlds at one point. We got to start somewhere. And that's why the amateur scene is important for the growth of future NA talent. And, that's why we got to be harsh critics sometimes. We have to point out the things that are not good. But with that chilling walk, I believe it is now our time to bid adieu to the rest of our lovely audience here for Upsurge Esports. I just want to make sure with our lovely stream producer, Hypertension, is there anything else that we should say? Oh, and MVP for this series, yo.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Honestly, my
it's pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie. Me personally, I would say my MVP vote would probably go to I'm trying to remember game 1 specifically. I would actually probably say BTN overall. Upgrade Nation did super well in game 1 actually. He was one of the shining lights there, but BTN was one who's probably the most consistent out of the entire series. Dillaran and Moonlight, even though Moonlight, I would say Moonlight is honorable mention because he definitely made a lot of great picks and made a lot of bindings that won him the bottom side, but I would say for sure BTN.
Yeah, Dillaran is also a huge runner-up as well because his Jinx game was fantastic. There's a couple things that was kind of scary, even though he had such a huge lead, and it was mainly bot difference, but BTN was a huge catalyst, not only for Unpure Ruination on the Pantheon in the top lane in game 1, but also for the bottom lane in game 2. And BTN made all that happen, and he was a monster in his own right on the Olaf. So overall series MVP, we got to give it to the big Viking man himself.
All right. But honestly, it's been fun casting, Rafa. It's my first time essentially back, and happy to cast with you, my man.
Hell yeah, it was a blast. I feel honored to be able to cast with such an esteemed veteran as yourself.
Too much. Hachima, no.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Upsurge Esports for this exciting series between RMU and Michigan State. This does solidify Michigan's position as the number 1 seed for Cloud Division. We will be returning later this week for UML, I believe, on, correct me if I'm wrong, Wednesday?
UML should be on Thursday, I think.
On Thursday, yeah. So UML will be Thursday, 8 p.m. EST, and then we will be starting playoffs next week for UPL. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again from the bottom of our hearts here at Upsurge Esports for tuning into the broadcast. We'll see you next time.